You are 19, in a basement prep kitchen, peeling a case of shallots that has to be done by 4. It pays $12.97 an hour. The chef upstairs earns $45.14. Neither of them owns the star. A Michelin star is awarded to the restaurant, not to the cook. The guide inspects the room, not the name on the menu. 15 years from now, you can walk out of this building and the star stays behind you, on the address. This is every level of a Michelin kitchen career, and what it costs to climb. If you want to see how these careers really pay, subscribe so you do not miss the next one. We start at level 1, the prep cook. The prep cook earns $12.97 an hour, roughly $26,980 a year. Most are 18 to 22. Every figure here comes from the same government wage survey. From the last year it published the full spread, 2023. The middle has moved since. The shape has not. You come in at 7 and you do not stop. Cases of onions, stock going on before anyone else arrives, and a walk-in cooler you learn to open with your elbow because your hands are never clean. In your 3rd week you sharpen a knife and leave it on the board under a towel. Somebody reaches for the towel. You do not get shouted at. You get moved to the sink for 4 days. Getting in requires showing up, a food handler card, and being available on the 2 days everyone else refuses. There is no school requirement at this level, and there never has been. A great many are gone inside a month, not the hours and not the heat. It is that nobody explains anything, and the way you learn is by being wrong in front of people. Here is what nobody tells you. Almost everything you touch at this level gets thrown away. Trim, stems, bones. You spend the first year producing waste on purpose so that 4 ounces on a plate can be perfect. The next rung is where your work starts leaving the kitchen. Here is the part outsiders never see, and it decides your income more than your knife skills ever will. It is a rule about tips, and it is not about you. Under federal law, a restaurant may pay a server as little as $2.13 an hour in cash and count tips toward the rest of the minimum wage. That gap is called the tip credit, and at the federal minimum, it is worth $5.12 an hour to the owner. Here is the trade. If the house takes that credit, the tip pool is closed. Only workers who customarily and regularly receive tips may be in it, and the kitchen gets nothing. If the house gives up the credit and pays every server the full minimum in cash, the law allows the pool to include cooks and dishwashers. Whether the kitchen sees a single dollar of the tips depends on an accounting choice the owner makes about somebody else's paycheck. Most cooks never learn which way their own restaurant went. The line cook earns $17.20 an hour, roughly $35,780 a year. Most are in their 20s. You have a station now, a meter of steel that is yours from noon until close, and everything that comes off it has your hands in it. You learn mise en place, which sounds like a philosophy, and is actually a list. Every sauce, every garnish, every portion, counted and placed before service, because during service there is no time to count. On a Saturday, you go into a second seating with enough of one item for 11 plates. 14 come in. The printer does not stop while you decide, and the answer you give the pass is the wrong one. Getting here requires a season on prep, a station that opens up, and a chef willing to lose service quality for 2 weeks while you learn it. The Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park, New York, turns out cooks who still start here. Plenty of them stay at this rung for a decade. It is the last level where you can leave your problems at the door, and a good line cook is never unemployed. Here is what nobody tells you. The top 10th of line cooks earn more than the bottom quarter of head chefs. Taking the promotion can cost you money for years. The rung above this one is the first that carries a French name and a real consequence. The chef de partie earns $22.32 an hour, roughly $46,420 a year. Most are around 27. You run a section. Sauce, fish, garde-manger, pastry. You have 1 or 2 cooks under you, and you answer for everything that leaves your corner of the pass. You also start ordering, which means you start being wrong about money, in public, on a spreadsheet somebody else reads on Monday. In February, a delivery lands short, and you sign for it anyway, because the truck is leaving. 60 covers later, you are plating a dish with the wrong garnish and telling yourself nobody will notice. The guide inspects several times a year, and nobody knows which night. Getting here requires several years on the line, a clean record on food safety, and a chef who trusts you with a section during a bad week. This is where the brigade system, written down in France more than a century ago, becomes real rather than decorative. It is that the schedule is nights and weekends forever, and everyone they grew up with stopped inviting them. Here is what nobody tells you. A station going down is not about skill. It is about one product not arriving, and there is no level of talent that fixes a truck. The next rung stops being about cooking at all. Here is the second thing outsiders never see. A kitchen is not a team. It is a set of stations, and each one is a separate small business with its own inventory. Sauce does not help fish. Not from pride, but because sauce leaving its station means sauce is not made, and the tickets do not wait. The whole design assumes that everything ordered actually arrives. Take out one delivery, one refrigerator, one cook who calls in, and there is no give in it anywhere. A kitchen that runs beautifully every night is not a kitchen with better cooks. It is a kitchen where the ordering was right on Tuesday. The sous chef earns $28.33 an hour, roughly $58,920 a year. Most are past 30. You are second in the room and first in the building. You write the schedule, you run the ordering, you fire the person who did not show up twice, and you cook only when somebody else cannot. You are also salaried now, which means the extra 6 hours on Saturday are free. In April, you push a cook to work with a cut on his hand under 2 gloves, because the alternative is closing a station. Nothing happens to a guest. Something happens between you and him that does not come back. Getting here requires years on the line, a working knowledge of food cost, and a willingness to be disliked by people you like. There is no examination anywhere in this trade, at any level. A small share ever want the job twice. Many take it, learn what it costs at home, and go back down to a station on purpose. Here is what nobody tells you. The move to Sous is the moment the job stops being about your hands, and the skill that got you promoted is no longer the skill being measured. Above this rung, there is something the pay tables cannot see. Here is the third thing, and it is the one everyone gets wrong. The star is not given to a person. The Michelin guide judges 5 things: the quality of the product, the mastery of technique, the harmony of flavors, the personality of the chef as it shows in the cooking, and consistency over time and across the whole menu. 4 of those 5 are about the food on the night, and the 5th is about every night. Inspectors come several times a year, anonymously. The international director of the guide has said plainly that it is the restaurant that is assessed, and that a chef cannot hand back a star. Which means the thing you spend 15 years building is attached to a building. If you leave, it does not come with you. If you stay, it can be taken by a season you did not control. The chef de cuisine earns $36.34 an hour, roughly $75,590 a year. Most are in their late 30s. You own the menu and the room. Every plate that goes out is your name in a way that no title makes official. You spend your day on things that are not cooking. Labor percentage, food cost, a walk-in that failed at 2 in the morning, a purveyor who wants to be paid. In October, you keep a dish on the menu 3 weeks past its season because changing it means retraining 3 stations. The product is fine. It is just no longer the best thing on the table, and one night somebody quiet is sitting at table 9. Getting here requires a full run through the brigade, a proven menu, and an owner who will let you spend money. Recognition comes from the James Beard Foundation or from the guide, and neither tells you it is coming. Hardly any reach this rung in a starred room. There are very few starred restaurants in any American city, and each one has exactly one of these. Here is what nobody tells you. Your best year and your worst year can be the same year, because the guide publishes once and the payroll runs every 2 weeks. Which is why what happens to the money in a kitchen matters more than any of this. On the 24th of April, 2023, the Wage and Hour Division of the United States Department of Labor announced the result of an investigation into a Japanese restaurant in Fort Myers, Florida. The restaurant had required its servers to share tips with chefs, with managers, and with the owners, while still claiming the tip credit. 75 servers were affected. The employer paid $262,322 in back wages and damages. The district director for the division said one line about it: "Tips are the property of the employees who earn them. A kitchen may share tips, but only if the house first gives up the credit. Take the credit and share anyway, and every dollar has to come back." The executive chef earns $45.14 an hour, roughly $93,900 a year. Most are past 40. You may run more than one room. You hire the chef de cuisine. You set the standard, and you can go a week without touching a pan. You are also the person who says a concept is finished, that a room is not working, and that a cook who has been there 9 years will not become what the room needs. In summer, you approve a second location because the numbers work on paper. The paper did not include the fact that the only person who can hold the standard in 2 buildings is you. Getting here requires a record across several rooms, a group that trusts your numbers, and a name that carries outside your own kitchen. That name is the only thing in this trade that travels. Very few get here, and fewer keep it, because the job is now about people who are not in the room. Here is what nobody tells you. At the top of this ladder, you are paid less than the middle of most licensed building trades, and the hours are worse. There is one rung above all of this, and it is the only one where the asset is yours. It is the chef who owns the restaurant. Everything in this video has been someone else's property. The station is the houses. The menu is the houses. The star is the addresses. Even the tip pool is decided by a person whose name is on the lease. An owner takes the risk and takes the asset. Nobody publishes a wage table for that rung, because there is no wage, and no bottom to it either. That is the answer to the star. You cannot be given one, and you cannot carry one to your next job. The only way to hold it is to own the room it was given to. Prep cook, $12.97 an hour, producing waste on purpose. Line cook, $17.20, 1 meter of steel. Chef de partie, $22.32, 1 section and 1 truck that has to arrive. Sous chef, $28.33, salaried. And Saturday is free. Chef de cuisine, $36.34, the menu and the room. Executive chef, $45.14, and a name that travels. 15 years, 6 rungs, and the thing everyone is working toward is nailed to a wall on a street you do not own. Next, every level of a security clearance,